Kaz from Yorkshire Peaches Therapies, and welcome back to another episode of Hop, Skip and a Jump. Today I'm joined by the amazing Charlie from Wild Paw Training. Charlie is one of my YPT Canine Pain Warrior graduates and is just as obsessed with pain as I am. She is a wonderful advocate for the dogs that she works with, and she's built up a fantastic network of professionals that she works alongside to help support painful dogs whilst doing ethical training. So I'm going to stop talking, let's jump into it. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited for our conversation. But before we kind of jump into the nitty gritty of it, if people haven't come across you before, tell us a little bit about you, how you fell into the world of dog training, and more specifically, how you fell into the world of dog training and understanding pain. What was the journey? Share the journey.
The journey.
The journey.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Woo! Yeah, so I always wanted to work with, I feel like everyone in the animal industry is like, I always wanted to work with animals, but I did. Like, I wanted to be a vet. Then I was like marine biologist. It was just somehow wanted to do that, and then just didn't. Went another direction, and then I got a dog from Cyprus who, bless him, just was a very unwell dog. But at the time, I didn't have a clue that it could be because he was in pain. I just thought, oh my God, someone described, because that we've had family dogs, but he was my first dog myself with my husband. And someone in all the support groups on Facebook, someone was like, oh, you've had the baptism of fire into dog ownership, because it was just unreal. It was very intense. And we saw so many trainers, behaviourists, and not a single one of them mentioned pain ever. So of course I was like, okay, but I just knew there was something not right. It was like, there's just no way. We got him at 4 months old, and I know I was very aware that like the first 4 months are very important, and I thought there's just no way, because all his siblings had been found. They had a couple, they were all resource guarders, but Indy was it was horrific. He'd just go. There was no warning. He'd just go. Whereas the others, it was, they'd growl at you, but then they'd give it up, no problem. Indy would want to kill you over, and it was just so heightened. And it was like, why is he like that and none of the others are? And couldn't figure it out. But he always he looked funny. He was a German. We did a wisdom panel. He was a German short haired pointer mixed with a Samoyed and a bit of English pointer, which was so random. And he was mostly Samoyed, actually. So I was obviously looking up all their breed traits. I've got my best friends had a GSP for 8, so I knew the breed, but I was like, Ziggy's not like that. So what's going on? It was just very odd. And just constantly researching, and then I mentioned to the vet, I just think he looks weird, the way he sits. He doesn't have a normal sit. He's sort of just not in proportion. His bones look like they've grown weird. His head is very, it's like he had. It turned out that his everything was just not formed properly, and he was just incredibly uncomfortable. But everyone was like, oh, you just need to do more training. He needs an e-collar because he's GSP. He's got that real prey drive and all of this. And obviously we didn't do any of that. It was that's so uncomfortable to think, but I just was and it our marriage was it was really intense. It was a lot to deal with.
It hugely impacts relationships when you've got a dog with either chronic pain and or very complex behavioural needs as well, because it puts a massive strain.
It does, because Steve grew up with cats, and he kept saying, oh, it'd just be like having a cat, just be like, and we were all like, no, love, trust me, it won't. Behavioural stuff aside, it will not be like having a cat, promise you. And so for him, that was really, it was intimidating, because he was a big dog, even as a puppy. And anyway, so just constantly researching, and then we found one day he just couldn't walk anymore when he was, oh sorry, that was Remy. He's like, oh brother. At like 7, 8 months old.
That's
So it had been
so
a very intense
young.
period of time, and he just one day could not walk, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's happened to him?" So took him straight to the vet, and they were like, "Oh, just give him some anti-inflammatories, see how he goes. If the lameness comes back, obviously we'll do scans." And I was like, "Cool." The difference in him, I think he was on painkillers for 2.5 weeks, and
Hmm.
there was, and I know normally that's not really a long time to
With
see,
NSAIDs, though, you can
but
tell
there was like
quickly.
it was like, oh my God,
Hmm.
like we've got, and now I would not use this word to describe, but at the time I was like, I've got a normal dog.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like this is what I wanted. This is
The
the
dog you
experience.
signed up for.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
could live in my own house without fear. Like
yeah.
I wasn't like frightened to
On
be at
edge.
home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with a puppy,
Hmm.
oh, it was so intense. And so we took him back and we said he had a significant improvement on this medication, scanned him, and he basically had like no pelvis. Like it just, there was nothing there. His hips were just like
Floating.
floating around. So they had to like do a whole,
Oh.
it was awful. And he was sort of put in as like an urge. I thought it'd be like, months. Within like a few days, it was right before Christmas. They were like, right, we're getting him in. And he had a full on hip replacement on the left. And it was mad. And then we were told he will have to have the right done.
Yeah, yeah.
But and then in the hospital, in the vet hospital, while he was there, I was then like just balls deep in all this research
Yeah,
about
yeah.
pain, and then just really started to learn like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like he's comfortable. So like he was sleeping on me, he was
Oh.
like wanting to play with me in a
Hmm.
way that wouldn't then escalate into like an attack, because it was like he got so
Het up.
overwhelmed and
Hmm.
overstimulated that he just couldn't handle it. Like he was regulating, and that recovery period, it was hard, obviously, but it was like the best time of our lives with him, and how sad that he had to go through that to then,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
obviously it was good because we got an answer, so we thought. But then we then sort of had that period of time, and then things just like nosedived again. Um, and in the end, it was behavioural euthanasia that he got put to sleep, and I found that really hard to admit and to talk about, like,
Hmm.
because as much as I am, if that's what the dog needs, then okay, but it's really hard. And now that I
Is.
am a trainer, I don't know, I feel like a bit of, I feel like almost like shame, I guess. Like, oh,
Hmm.
if I knew what I know now, like it could have been so different. But I talk about this with the GP vet all the time. Whenever I'm with Remy, I'm like, can I just have a quick therapy session about Indy? Like, did we make the right decision? And they advised us, they said this, he's got no quality of life.
Yeah.
He's so uncomfortable mentally and physically. We'd done meds, we'd done pain meds, we'd done physio, we'd done everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was like he was just so far gone. And it was just so upsetting.
Yeah.
And that just proper inspired me. I was like, I want to, I want to help dogs
Yeah, yeah.
like him, and it just went from there. So that was such a ramble, sorry, but yeah,
No,
and
no, not all.
I
I think
can't
it's.
imagine myself doing anything different. Really,
I
I love it.
think whenever you speak to um, professionals, we will all have that one dog.
Yeah,
That one dog that will constantly mull over, did I do the right thing? Gosh, if I knew this, then I could have done it differently. But I always say you do the best you can with the information that you have at the time.
yeah,
The fact that you explored the aspect of pain and you had the surgery and you did all that, you did everything you could. You did everything
I
you
know,
could, and but it still
but
doesn't make it any easier to
yeah,
swallow. But with behavioural euthanasia, like I am not against behavioural euthanasia. I think as long as we've explored
yeah,
pain to the best of our ability, and
yeah.
with it's very prudent that the vet said, not just his physical health is suffering, but also his emotional health
Oh,
is
it
suffering.
was, yeah.
Because when
Mm,
you have a dog that is in chronic pain, and he will have been born with chronic pain,
yeah,
and with the escalation of his behaviour, and then you've got like the being rescued, and then it was the fact that you were living in your home in fear.
Oh yeah.
Like that's, that's really serious, and it's not
Yeah.
about like, oh, you just want a normal dog or anything like that, but you shouldn't be living in fear. And I think you did everything that you could,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
ultimately the decision was made for him.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was for
It
him.
yeah. It really was, and I really trusted, and we still go to that vet now for
Yeah,
Remy.
yeah.
We have a very good relationship with two of the vets at that practice, and like even the like the receptionists, like who'd known him, and to this day, they'll be like, are you okay? And and
Oh,
they'll
that's
still
lovely.
talk about him, and then they'll always like that was the right thing, and
Yeah, yeah.
it does make me feel better. I think if I hadn't gone into the industry, I'd be more comfortable with what happened. But I feel like
Of the like the knowledge you've
because of
acquired,
everything,
you
and
question
also it's
yourself
like,
more.
yeah, and like people, you know, will pay me money to like help their dog, and they'll want to like fix the dog, and I don't feel like a dog should be like fixed. I don't agree with that like language
Yeah, yeah.
around behavior and stuff, because it's like way more complicated than that. But
Mhm.
I don't know, there's like this weird sort of stigma to myself,
Mhm.
like, well, I should have been able to fix him.
No, no.
And and I know that
Yeah, yeah.
I know that, but also I don't.
It's
Yeah,
your
it's weird, isn't
it's
it?
your emotional brain
Yeah, yeah,
in overdrive, because
yeah,
I do the same with my dogs now. I've got three dogs that they all have varying degrees of chronic pain that I manage,
mm,
and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough, but I'm doing as much as I can, as much as I've got capacity for.
yeah,
But it's very difficult because we're always going to be our own worst critique. Like
yeah,
I can help other people with making their dogs feel better and giving them advice and massage and Fatizo and the whole kit and caboodle. But then sometimes I look at my own dogs and I'm like, where am I getting this wrong? What am I doing wrong? But this is why it's so important for me to have um, a network of people around you,
yeah,
trusted professionals, just have that sounding board. I've got the answers, they're all up here, but sometimes I just need to tease them out and hear from someone else's perspective. So
yeah.
I'm really lucky. I've got two wonderful therapists that work with me. I've got Charlotte from Raybrook Physiotherapy, and I've also got Helen from Roots to Rehab. And
Oh yeah,
those are,
lovely.
they're just absolute babes, and I love them to bits. And if I've got a case that I'm really like in a pickle about, like I'll pick up the phone and I'll speak to them, because just to have that
Sound good.
sounding board is so important, especially
Yes.
when you work on your own. Like
Yeah.
the way that I look at it, when you work in the NHS as a therapist, um, you'll have a clinical supervisor, you'll be liaising with surgeons and occupational therapists and da 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 da. Whereas for us working with dogs, we have to build a team
Yeah.
around us.
Yeah.
So who's on your team? So say you've got a painful dog that's come in, who's on your team? Who are you touching base with?
You.
Well, there's
And
so
first of all, uh, did you mean like with work
yeah,
or
yeah.
my person? Yeah. Sorry. So you, and then there's a really brilliant vet that I work with who so she works in like an emergency vet practice, but
Mm-hmm.
then has set up doing like mobile pain clinics,
Yeah.
which was like, oh my god. But she reached out, she saw like one of my like Facebook ads, like, hi, if you need a dog trainer, and she messaged me like, hi, I'm a vet, and I really like that you're into like the whole pain and behavior, and I am as well, and it'd be great to meet. And like, she's such a knowledgeable, passionate person. It's like, it's so cool working with her and getting to like go and watch her, like she found this like back pain in one of my clients, who reactive collie, absolute lovely dog, but he got hit by a van on one of his walks last year. I think
Oh my
no,
days.
was it last year? I think it was last year. And he got a brain injury from it. And obviously it knocked his little, he was only a baby, like when it
Yeah, yeah.
happened, and like it knocked him for six, obviously. And he was just like having sort of like back, we didn't really know what, but like he wasn't like in his harness, and like, coat flicking and all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And it doesn't want to be touched. So it was so cool just watching this. So she started playing tug of war with him.
Mm-hmm.
And as he was bouncing, she could see this like movement in
Spasm
the
in his back.
muscle. Yeah. And she was like, there you go. And then when she was doing, and it was like, oh my God, that is like, I feel like such a geek about it. Like I was so excited. Like obviously it's not good that he's got that, but it
But the
was
fact
nice
it's
that
been
she
spotted without
found it. Yeah.
the palpation necessarily is the first kind of port of call. Because just remind me of the business name. It's
Whiskers and Wellness.
Whiskers and Wellness,
Yes.
and she does acupuncture as
Just
well.
yeah. Sorry, I went off on a proper tangent.
No,
Yeah,
no.
the acupuncture, um, mobile pain clinics,
Yeah,
and then she does like she's works in an emergency vet practice doing
yeah.
like surgery and
Because
all kinds.
I got a message off her saying, I've just read through one of your gait analysis reports and it's really good. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like,
Thanks.
thank you so much. Because to have that recognition from a vet, where
Yeah.
most of the time I just say to people, look, just show this one page to the vet. They're not interested in all this, just the highlights, because they don't have time to read through. So the fact that a vet had read through it, I was like, oh my days, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But I
I
think
think it was probably one of mine that I'd sent, like one of my clients that I'd sent her. I was like, there you go. Read
enjoy.
Yaz's report. Yeah. Because I
So
think your reports are amazing. Like
oh,
I like
thank you.
really like get proper into it. Like, oh, this is so interesting, you know.
It's
So
one of my one of my things is I can just spot patterns.
yeah,
So when I'm looking for gait abnormalities, it's when limbs don't fall into the traditional pattern, and therefore you find the abnormality, which you then trace back. Because I see things in pictures as well, like body systems in
yes,
pictures, and it's still one of my most popular like online services. So obviously I've got
yes,
my clinic based in West Yorkshire, where I see dogs physically, but I also do online stuff like the online gait analysis. Is online something that you offer at the moment, or is it just in
yes.
person? Oh, so you
No,
do
it's
offer
it's
everything.
online and in person. Yeah,
Nice. So
yeah.
what kind of cases do you like to deal with? What's your favourite behaviour to work with? Have you got a favourite? I've got a favourite. Like I love working with stifles and then hips and then
Oh,
spine.
okay, nice.
So I've got like
Yeah,
favourite areas. What are your favourite types of cases to be working with?
dogs that just need help, like processing
Mhm.
the world. So like reactivity, and
Yeah.
every dog is reactive because
Yes.
they are going to respond to something at some point
Yeah.
in their life.
Mhm.
But you know what I mean? Dogs who like really struggle with other dogs or people
Mhm.
or just the environment, like they're just like, oh, and they just need help like coming back down to earth a little
Mhm.
bit and like processing it all. But it's when the guardians are like so into it as well, and it
Yeah.
really feel it's like a dance, you know, like you just kind of like vibing and like they're so a
Keen to
part of
learn.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I love getting like videos of their what, like, oh look, we did this today, and like I love those kind of cases. And then when you start to see the dog just sort of like going, oh, and like they're able to process things, and like that, when they see a dog and like they just crack on, like having a little sniff, and you just like, oh yes, I get so excited
Yeah.
about
It
it. Like
genuinely fills
it's
your
so
heart with joy.
it does, because it's
Genuinely.
like, you just want them to be okay and like to be able to enjoy their life, because they unfortunately don't get that long
Yeah.
with us, so you want it to be as happy as possible, and I really enjoy being a part of that with people.
Yeah, you're
So
an important step in that dog's journey, and kind of
mm,
discussing pain. So with your online consultations then, so
yeah.
how does that work? Do people come to you and say, my dog's struggling with reactivity? What does the process look like for you kind of onboarding that new customer
Mm.
through an online kind of consultation?
So yeah, so people will come and be like, I've got XYZ issue. So the consultation, the initial consultation, will just have a real in-depth conversation
Mhm.
about the dog. Like I usually get them to start from like day one. Where'd you get them from? How old were they? What were the mum and dad like? But if they're not a rescue, whatever. Give me a history, and then I'll just like ask questions as we go, and then it just becomes like a really nice chat
Yeah,
about their dog. And like
yeah.
people, I had one last week where they really opened up, and it was like it's actually really sad, and you're like, oh, and it's nice that people feel they can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just try and get as much of a picture as I can of what's going on, and then I write up like a report about it, and then I never pressure. It's you can just book a consult, and if you never want to see me again, you don't have to.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not pressuring people to do it, but I'll just say like if we were to go on and do training or work together, this is kind of how it'd look, and I'll do like a little plan.
Nice.
Um, Not super in depth because I don't want to overwhelm people, but just
Yeah.
like, this is roughly what it would look like. Obviously, everyone's dog's different. It might change, whatever. And then we then go on to do sessions. And if they're online, um, it's quite nice because like we'll meet. Sometimes we don't meet every week. It can be a couple because we're constantly talking through WhatsApp. I make it very clear that like I like it to be collaborative. Like I want to be involved. I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
If you've had a really shit walk, I want to know about it. If you've had a really good one, even if it's dead boring, just tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep me in the loop of what's going on, and you become almost like a friend, and it's nice like having that kind. And you sort of really rooting for them, and I really enjoy it. It's just nice. And then the sessions will be, and I'll use Remy to like demonstrate stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
He loves it because it's like sweet time. But yeah, so I'll use him to like demonstrate, okay, this is what I need you to do. Like if you see a dog, do XYZ, and I can show them because I've got a dog there. Or
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's just a conversation like this, like we just have a catch up and
Have a
we
catch up.
talk
And it's about
about, yeah,
nudging people in the right direction with stuff. I think as well, kind of
yeah,
circling back to taking a client history or a dog's history is so
mm,
important. I also start from day dot, and
yeah,
on my training course, you can't train away pain. We discuss about whether or not the dog has been born via C-section or natural birth. How was the pregnancy? Because it all impacts, in my case, what a dog's pain experience looks like. So
yeah,
I start from day dot, and again, that knowing where to pitch as well in your first session. So you're taking that history, but when you're taking that history, you're also seeing how the pet parent's responding to giving that information.
very much,
So
yeah,
it can be a mix. It can be that it becomes very emotional. I have tissues in clinic because talking about pain is very emotive, and I am not immune to that. Like I'll go, would you like a hug? Because we're all human, and it's to see someone else distressed and upset about their dog. To me, like it hurts because I'm like, oh, you poor sod.
yeah,
Because it's how long have you been feeling like this for? Because
yeah,
people almost feel like lost,
they
and
do,
they
yeah,
haven't got any options when actually they do have options. And what else was I going to say about the history? So when so obviously people predominantly come to me for pain, and then I'm seeing like behavior red flags, then I'm seeing nutrition red flags, then I'm seeing environmental red flags, and I'm like, so I could tell you about 20,000 different things to do at the moment, but we're just going to start really soft and small, and we're going to plug that hole first. And then when we've plugged that hole, we'll then start having this conversation, because otherwise you do run into that territory of becoming overwhelmed. But I get overwhelmed
yeah,
if I'm given too many options.
yeah,
So I like to kind of like plan it out in my head, and then we discuss, okay, what are your goals, what are you wanting to achieve with this dog? Because I think understanding what goals are really important, because I mean, for the most part the answer is the same: I just want my dog to be comfortable. So
yeah,
I go, okay, what does that look like to you? Are you wanting them to go on long walks, or are you wanting them to, I don't know, like start doing agility? Like, and it's about finding a reasonable and achievable middle ground.
yeah,
Okay, we're probably not going to get up to there, but this is absolutely achievable.
yeah,
And we'll do X, Y, Z, blah, 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 and all of that. So, but it's definitely an art form, isn't it? It's something that
yeah,
I've learned over nearly a decade working in the animal industry. I think 7 years as a therapist. It's
Yeah.
just things that you kind of pick up along the way. But no,
I-
it's really good with the online consultation thing, because that doesn't limit you to where you can help dogs.
No, totally. And it's good as well, like even for like local people, if their dog is, human reactive or like doesn't want people in their space, like you can sort of set the foundations
Mm-hmm.
through a virtual and then go.
Build up.
I have noticed that like a lot there are, if you are local, people are more inclined to want to see you in
See you.
person
Yeah.
because it's like, well, you're right there. It's like, I know, but it's
But
better for your dog if
if
we
we
don't
start off
do that.
virtually, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like all like my initial consultations, like 9 times out of 10, they are virtual, even if they're local. And then the sessions can be in person, but I always like to do the initial one like virtually because I'm just learning at this point. I want to get a full history of the dog. I don't want to stress the dog out off the bat,
Yeah.
and then I can make a plan that would like suit that dog
Mm-hmm.
best,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there kind of thing. So yeah, that and I think what you were saying about like this, when you sort of trying not to overwhelm, that was definitely, so at first I'd just be like blah, 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 like here's all, and you could see
It's
people
that
being
look,
like,
isn't it? Like,
oh
oh,
my god,
yeah.
and I'm aware of it, and so in my brain I'm going, oh my god. And it's
Stop
just,
talking.
yeah, but I can't, like once I'm off, that's
Yeah.
it, like I'm doing right now.
I give people a warning when I start talking. So I'll go, okay, so I want to get as much as we can into this initial session. I talk like a steam train. Please interrupt me if you have a question, because I need to make sure that you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Because I too will go off like that, and then
yeah.
it almost feels a little bit like an interrogation when I do those initial assessments, because I'll ask them like really weird off the wall questions. And I mean, most people have like looked at my social media, so they know I'm a bit off the wall anyway. But when I'm like, so they'll be talking about feeding times, and I'll be like, what flooring do you have in the kitchen? And they're like, liner. I'm like, all right, okay. And does the dog sleep upstairs with you on a night? And they're like, yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm not asking to trip you up. I'm just trying to make a picture of
Put the
of
puzzles together.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I used that analogy the other day with the dog that came to see me in clinic, who has had every test under the sun, seen numerous specialists, and we still have a very complex, delicate little soul that we're
Oh,
trying to. And I said, it's almost like we've got all the jigsaw pieces are on the table. I
mm,
said, and we just need to start seeing how they fit together. I said, because at the moment they're all scattered, so we've got all these bits of information everywhere. I said, it's about how can we pull it in, and
yeah.
that's what what my job is to kind of pull all these different resources in together.
Yeah.
What was another thing I was going to ask you? So obviously you are a YPT canine pain warrior. You have attended You Can't Train Away Pain.
Browse. Canine
Um,
pain warrior.
do you know what? I was filling in my CPD log yesterday, and I ran 6 of those sessions last year.
Wow.
And I'm like, I need to count up how many people I've trained altogether, because that's
Yeah, you
insane.
should.
That's
Listen,
insane.
Ethan.
Like, so many. It's predominantly trainers, behaviourists, and groomers as well. But
Yeah.
I've had like pet taxis, pet parents.
Didn't like that scientist person come to one. Wasn't
Yeah,
there like a really
I've
niche
had
scientist
two.
there?
I've had
Yeah.
two come. There was one guy, oh my days, he was so lovely. And he was a professor in immunology.
That was it,
So
yeah.
at the beginning of the session, I'll say, right, everyone, if you just go around, tell me your name, just tell me a little bit about, like what you do, just so I know where to pitch stuff. So they go around,
Yeah,
and so I
yeah.
was like, I'm a dog walker. I was like, oh, brilliant, yeah, how long have you been working for dogs? And I get to him, I was like, oh, yeah, what is it you do? And he was like, oh, I'm a retired professor of immunology. And like, honestly, I thought my ass was going to fall out. And I was like, why are you here?
Yeah. What are you
What could I
doing?
possibly teach you? And he was like, oh, I've just come to learn for my dog. And then like I'd
Oh.
be talking about like all the sciencey bit, and I go, is that right? And he was like, yeah, it's right.
No.
And I'm like, but it's really nerve wracking. And then there was another
Oh.
time I had a retired child clinical psychologist, and I'm like, I can't breathe. I can't physically breathe. But it's really important that I know who's in the room, so I
Mm,
know where the kind of conversations I can go a little bit deeper
yeah,
with, or if I need to kind of like strip it back a little bit. But to be honest, the way that the course is written is to build up the
yeah.
main foundations before we kind of get to the really juicy bits of, you know, the mechanics of pain, which is my favourite to talk about. So what was I saying? So you've done your can't train away pain.
Mm.
How have you found, as a trainer, that has been received, this new information, well, this new acquired knowledge about pain? How
Mm.
have you found it's been received by vets and pet parents?
Really mixed. So I was talking about pain with clients before you
Mm-hmm.
can't train away pain, but then that like going to that, obviously I learned so much, and it was like genuinely one of my favorite days
Oh, thank you.
of my life. I'm not even exaggerating. My family is sick of me talking about it because I'm like, another thing, by the way, and they're like, shut up. But genuinely, it was so cool. It was like really inspiring, and it also like reaffirmed that like I actually do kind of know
Know
what
what you're
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about and like what
Yes.
I'm doing, and like I'm confident in it. Gave me so much confidence in
Good.
like my approach so it was really amazing. And so because I was telling clients, "Oh, I'm going to this course," and they were like, "Oh, so some were like dead excited about it, wanted to hear like
Mm-hmm.
about it and how that could apply or whatever, and then others it was like you'll bring it up and it's just like, well, you're not a vet. And it's like, I know, I'm not trying to be a vet.
No.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not diagnosing
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
I'm not like making out that I know more than I do. I'm just trying to
Mm-hmm.
educate you on this is why your dog is likely, in part behaving in that way. It's like, but I just want you to stop him barking. And it's like, well, then I'm not the right person for
No.
it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's been hard because like I really I will sort of work with people because I really want to help the dog,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not in a place where they can sort of accept that their dog is uncomfortable. And I think it's a very emotive topic. It's
Yes.
really difficult to
Massively
talk
so.
about. And I say that, I say like this is really hard, like, all of that, but it honestly just really depends. And then vets, I've had one vet, two vets actually be really like uh really not happy with the fact that I had recommended that the guardian speak to the vet about a pain trial. One vet was like, oh, your trainer thinks they're all that, recommending a pain trial. They're not even a vet. What do they know about pain?
Wow.
And then another one was like,
The
why is
lovely.
your so this it was this really lovely couple. They had this really old dog who just had been a bit grumbly for a few years,
Mm.
but they just whatever, they got on with it, and then all of a sudden started going for the man, like really,
Ooh.
really. He had stitches and everything. It was a little terrier, and they were like in their 80s, and they were like, we don't know how to deal with what is this. And he wanted her to be put down because it was like, can't deal with this,
Yeah.
all that. So they took her to the vet, and again they said our trainer has recommended. I said it's not like an obedience. She's not being naughty. Like
She's
I really think
communicating.
she's uncomfortable. She's
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell you that, and she's an older dog, so there is more of a likelihood that there is something potentially happening. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely worth speaking to your vet about it. The vet like refused to do anything. He's like, there's nothing wrong with her. She needs training. Um, was just proper slating me like I have no right to be saying all of this. It's wrong of me. I'm crossing a line, and it really.
Just to be, I'm sorry to interrupt you because that's made me
No,
really
it's
cross.
okay.
Just to be absolutely crystal clear, when I
Yeah.
talk about pain and when I teach other people about talking pain, we are not there to diagnose, which you haven't done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's about signposting the pet parent to go to the vet.
Yeah.
We are not
For
over
support.
for support, diagnosis, pharmaceutical intervention,
Yeah.
where's the line? Where's the line? If he's saying there's a fucking line, where is
Yeah.
that line? What, to leave dogs in pain and we just don't mention that 4-letter dirty word pain because we
Exactly.
don't have a doctorate? Absolutely not. We are saying
Yeah.
there is a potential that pain is influencing this behaviour. The fact
Yeah.
that you have a dog that is bit to the point of stitches, so that's an active bite history, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's actually made my blood pressure go
It's
up a little
mental.
bit.
Yeah, sorry.
No, God, no, don't.
But
Yeah, this is what I
like
do every day. I wind myself up with stuff like this. But
but
it,
like fair play to the Guardian because they actually really defended me. I wasn't
good.
there. This is them feeding it back. Like they defended me, which was like amazing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I was like, thank you. And they demanded that they see a different vet. They spoke to the practice manager. Like it was all dealt with very well.
Wow.
The dog was absolutely like just I don't know the word, head to toe, like arthritic, like so sore.
What's your
Um,
answer?
they put her on, I don't know what medication they put her on, haven't had a single incident since. She is moving better. She wants to play again. She wants to cuddle. And I'm just like, there you go. You know, if the first vet had just like got over themselves a little bit and been
It's
like, do you know what?
ego. It's ego.
Yeah,
Like, how dare you tell me what to do? We're not telling you what to do. We're opening
exactly.
you up to the possibility that, you know, we've seen something. But again, it's this fear. It's like this
Mm,
fear in not just with vets but also with other therapists about referring out. And
yeah.
I see it in trainers as well. So it's like this thing about, you know, like, oh, they're going to poach, or oh, the customer's never going to come back there. No, that's not the case. You
No,
just
you've got
realise
to
what's
do
in your
that.
remit and what's
Yeah,
out of your remit. So for me,
absolutely.
I specialise in canine pain management,
Yeah,
but I talk about what's in my remit. Or you want to explore a pain trial, that's out of my remit. You need to go to the vet to have that conversation. You need to
yeah.
say XYZ, change in behaviour, gait, posture, capabilities. I find it absolutely insane. If you look at human medicine, like
Mm,
the likes of physiotherapists, occupational therapists, like your GP will say,
yeah.
"Oh, you right? Okay, I'm going to book you in with the physio," and I will
Mm,
wait to see what they say, and then I'll take it from there. But in veterinary medicine, that is just not the case.
no,
It's not. We're not trying to step on anyone's toes. We're doing this for the animal.
absolutely.
We're
And it's like I'm
advocating for
not
the animal.
totally, and like I've been criticized quite a lot actually, like sharing Remy's journey on about his health because it is like that is a whole other saga. But like I've been like said to people like, oh, you're such a vet basher and you've never got a good thing to say about the vets. And it's like, no, I do have good things to say
Absolutely.
about vets, but I am also allowed to call out when like they're not, it's not sort of serving my dog or a client's dog. That's not okay. Like the
No.
whole point is that we're sending people there, or we're sending our dogs there to get support. And like we had it with Remy. I took him to a specialist, a referral hospital, and the guy said to me, he just needs more training. I'm sick of trainers and behaviorists bringing me their dogs or clients' dogs, trying to pass it off as a health issue when they just need more training. And
Tell
he
me you
said,
know nothing about training or behaviour without
literally,
telling me. What on earth is
literally.
that response? Because it
And he
makes
said, I
us
just
look
need to
like
train him.
dicks.
Yeah, no, it does. And it made me look like I don't have a clue what I'm doing with my own dog. And it's like, no, I actually know my dog so well. And I'm here. I'm not here for a laugh. Like,
Yeah. It's
you
very
know,
expensive to be here and it's a lot of stress to get
literally.
here.
Yeah.
It's I still think we there has been a shift. I've definitely
Mm,
seen a shift, I'd say, in the past 4 5 years, that people are starting to recognize pain. There are more
mm,
conversations about pain and about gait abnormalities with trainers. um Therapists, I think we still have a long way to go. With trainers, we still have a long way to go.
oh,
And vets,
trainers, absolutely. Yeah.
we've all got a long way to go before we, as a industry standard, are recognizing that pain is so much more than a limp or a yelp. So much more. But I don't need to tell you
Literally.
that because we are
Yeah.
constantly banging our heads against our desks going, for God's sakes, this is so obvious.
Yeah.
But we keep keep fighting the fight, and we
Yeah,
keep showing up, and we keep learning, and we'll keep making content about it. Why? Because it's important, and our dogs deserve the absolute best. They deserve the
absolutely.
absolute best. And I applaud you, and I applaud anyone who's as relentless at acquiring knowledge about pain,
Mm.
because you could be learning how to do like really like super cool like training things, blah, 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 and you're like, actually no, I'm gonna look at welfare, because that's what
Oh,
gets me all
honestly,
geared
yeah.
up. And I think yeah, I think I just need to keep doing stuff on social media. You need to keep doing stuff on social media. It's kind of the new wave of how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspire
Oh,
this
truly.
conversation about
Yeah,
pain. There's also as well canine arthritis management. They have so
yes, all of
many
them. Such a good resource.
amazing lectures, so many free lectures, resources, like really good resources for pet parents as well. Like
Yeah, they do.
when I first qualified as a canine massage therapist, the CAM level 1 course was the first CPD I did when I qualified, and
Oh,
I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And that's where I first learned about the
yeah,
dorsal horn, and then it just went like
went from
that.
there.
Just went from there.
Yeah,
And I think the more people that I connect with who talk as enthusiastically as yourself about pain, it gives me hope that there's still people out there that we need to find to get inspired about
oh no,
pain,
there really are. There really are. And I've actually noticed as well, the more I talk about it online, I've now got clients coming to me like, oh, I know you're sort of interested in that and you talk about that, like, and I'm concerned about this. And it's like people, like pet parents are looking
Mm-hmm.
and they're learning. And like
Yeah, yeah.
I had a consult today with a lady, she's a nurse, and she was like, my dog just does something not right. And when I was going through it with her, she was like, "Yeah, that makes so much." And like, there people are becoming more receptive to it, and I think social media helps so much with that
Yeah,
because you just, you going way back to when we had indie, like there was nothing really that you
yeah,
could
yeah.
like get that from your vet or anything. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the fact that social media, people like you and me and others who are talking about it, like it's invaluable. It's so important
Mm-hmm.
for people to learn, really more than just a surface level about their
Yeah,
dogs
yeah.
that
And
go deeper,
make
you know.
those informed decisions. I think that we're in an era now where there is so much information available to us, and it's
It's
about kind of
overwhelming. Yeah,
wading through to find people or accounts or anything like that resonate with you. And pet parents want to make more informed choices about their dog's health.
yeah,
They actively
which is so
want to.
nice.
It's so nice. It makes
Yeah.
our job just that little bit easier
Oh, it does.
when
Yeah.
we've got the pet parent on board.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how real progress can be made, is working in collaboration with each
Yeah.
other. And we have to remember as well, the pet parent's voice is the loudest voice in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So if we can get them on board with it, it means, because a vet is more likely to listen to a pet parent than they are to us. And that's not to say that all vets don't listen to us. I work with some
No. Yeah.
fantastic vets that I can pick up the phone and go like that and get an answer.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is the pet parent that has the strongest and loudest voice in the
Absolutely.
conversation.
As they should. It's their,
It's their
it's their
animal.
dog.
It's their
Yeah.
baby. It's
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
sentient being, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
but we keep fighting the fight, don't we, Charlie? We've got to
We do.
keep fighting the fight. So, if people have listened to this podcast and thought, Charlie sounds a bit of me, I didn't know she did remote sessions, I didn't know she did this, where can people find you on social media?
On the gram,
On the
on,
gram.
Instagram or Facebook if you are over that way. It's just Wild Paw Dog Training, and my website is wildpawdogtraining.com. But I love Instagram. I'm on there too much.
Same.
Uh, so if send me a message, I'm very neurodivergent. I'm very chill. So you'll have a good time.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
Well, Charlie, thank you so much for your time today. your
Thank you for having me.
wisdom, your input. No, you're more than welcome. It's always an absolute joy speaking to you. But even
Likewise.
though all we do is talk about pain, but that's my hyperfixation, and alas, now
That's
yours.
mine as
You're
well. So
welcome.
yeah.
So thank you so much. So for everyone listening, if you have enjoyed today's podcast, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow Charlie on socials. You do amazing content all about pain and training, and also some that are so funny I've literally laughed my ends off. So make sure you do go and check out Charlie's content. But for now, lots of love to you and your dogs, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care for now. Bye.
Bye.